Hi everyone, and welcome back to another daily creative coding video. This time, decided to, because I can't stick with one thing for too long at a time, I get bored too fast. So let's do Estuary, and specifically Punctual inside Estuary to start with. Um, we might try the standalone version of Punctual, but I just didn't feel like setting it up tonight. Uh, so, okay. This is also a language that can do both like audio and visual, and I am very rusty with it. So, as in, like, I have not done a lot with it in nearly a year. And, in these unprecedented times like that might as well be in several millennia for how the perceptual time feels. So, yeah, I will be kind of struggling my way through the documentation and trying things and seeing if I can show off things that are interesting. And we'll see what we can do over the next, like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. So, to start, I've taken the moth picture we used last night with Hydra, and this time I'm using the texture command to load that. And maybe I should actually try and. Okay, yeah, I think that's a little more legible against the background. Cool. Right, so what I'm doing is I'm loading that into the texture, and I'm providing these coordinates, which are basically going to be like a mapping of. It's like, so the punctual, at least, and David Ogborn, if he ever sees this, can correct me if I'm saying something wrong, but it's, I think of things in Punctual as being almost like per pixel shaders, and when there's coordinates, like you're giving it the coordinates for each pixel on the screen. And so in this case, what we're doing is, fx and fy are the pixels at each point on the screen. Fx is going, I believe, it's the standard like graphics thing of I think the center is 0, 0 here. We'll find out soon if I'm remembering wrong. But then, x increases, y increases. I think it works like that, because that's what so many graphics things do. And then what we're doing here is we're going to be, we're basically saying at each pixel, we're taking what lies at the part of the image that has that coordinate. So, and we can obviously play with that, right? We can, take instead of what we can flip it, for example, we can say fy and then fx, okay? And that should essentially, yeah, you can see it kind of rotates it and it stretches it as well, because of kind of how the remapping of coordinates works. So, and then you can also, we can create like a bunch of, essentially like bars by just putting fx in both spots. And then, we can obviously get sort of distorted by putting some other non-linear transformation on the coordinates, right? So there. And then we can even we can even do stuff with time here. And so this is where I'm going to have to look things up, because I have to remind myself how a lot of this actually works. And I believe if we wanted to, I think we can do a thing. And again, I'm trying to remember if coordinates in Punctual are... Oh, okay. So, actually, I was remembering wrong. Coordinates in Punctual do go from -1 to 1, and then -1 to 1. So it's not the standard like graphics thing where this is the corner. It's actually going to be the this is the origin. This is going to be the origin, and -1, negative, and 1, -1, 1. Okay, cool. So what this means is we should be able to do something like we can multiply this coordinate by the sign. I think that'll work. Let me just make sure I know what the syntax I want is, because it should be a sign of a frequency, and let's do the cycles per second if we want to like place something in title and then just see how it matches up. So I think this should work, but let's see if it actually works. Yep, that does work. Okay, cool. And then if I do something in mini title over here, you should be able to hear, if I put like a steady beat, you should be able to kind of see that they're synced up. And here, if I just do like 1 beat per cycle. Yeah. And then if I do 2, you should hear that's like the 2 extremes there. Right? So that's kind of cool. Now, one of the things that I liked about when I've done stuff before with Punctual is the fact that you can do stuff like, it basically creates, you can have, almost like in Hydra, you can have what's like multiplication on a, it's kind of like a pointwise multiplication. And so let me remind myself the syntax of how to do the variables, because I don't remember super well how to do that. I think, shoot, I'm trying to remember. I think it might be something like this. Oh, we're gonna find out. So let's call it image. I think that's what I do. I think I have like the direction going the other way. Let's see. Okay, I think that was correct, because now I should be able to do to video. Okay, great. Okay, I have not completely forgotten how this stuff works. Awesome and badass. So now I can start doing things like I can multiply this by things. So the same way, like the reason why I was doing the stuff with like masking in Hydra is because I know I can do a thing where I take shapes like rectangles and stuff, and I can multiply them. So let's say that I center it at 0, 0, and then I make it 0.5 wide and 0.5 tall. Okay, and that won't be a square, right? Because I mean these are percentages of height and width, and those aren't square because I'm using a window that's very, very, it's a rectangle but not a square. Okay, so let's, oh, is there another argument? No, that should be right. Okay. That's not what I thought was going to happen. What the heck? Weird. Because I could have sworn it was the kind of thing where Let's figure this out. Also going to look something up right quick. Also, I'm just going to, this is going to be silly, but I'm just going to put parentheses around things as much as possible. Huh. Yep, that is not what I would have thought that did. Also, I'm going to take away the motion just so I don't get any more motion sickness. So, if I multiply those together, but I could have sworn that that was going to be, let's check something. Check some of my old notes from like about a year ago. And this is always the fun part of doing stuff like this, where it's very, these videos are very much unplanned, in that I am just trying to make something and see what happens. And maybe it's going to make sense, and maybe it's not. And that is okay. So, let's just, okay. We find my old So the one thing I'm going to do is just to make sure, just going to make sure I'm not like having some kind of collision here. And just to make it look identical to an old example, let's make it look like this. Okay. Well, neat. So let me now take an old example I've actually used before and see if it also doesn't work. Okay, so let me do this over here so I don't have to actually erase things. Huh. Okay, no, that's working, right? Huh. Yeah, that actually works right. So here, let's do a thing of, okay. Alright, so now let's put this in and see what happens. And here, let me just get rid of that, because we know that works. going to be real with you. I'm a little confused. Because for the life of me, I don't actually know what the difference is between these two examples. But, okay, let's just double, triple, quadruple check. Okay, yeah, no. For this one, it just leaves only the green channel. Meanwhile, for this, the other example, it literally does what exactly I would expect it to do, which is that it creates a rectangle, and then makes that multiplies things out. And you can see it's, well, that's, all right, we'll figure out what that was about later. But, here, so we can kind of just continue. And here, let's get like super zany for a second, which is that I will literally take, I will take out the URL, and we can use the old URL and plop it in and see if it still works right. Yes, so I clearly had some kind of odd typo that I just wasn't seeing, which is fine. Because I should be able to have something static if I do that. Yeah, okay. So, I have no freaking clue. I'm just not going to worry about it. Clearly I had a typo, and that's fine. So yeah, let's make this bigger. And yeah, so the point is we can multiply this out through, we can sort of multiply this through, and we could also do it with, say, like a circle. And you know, we can have that go by sine of CCPS divided by 10. Actually, let's, yeah, okay. Here, can you, yeah, okay. Well, iris out, and then go back out, okay. And so that's some of the basic stuff you can do here. And then you can actually send things to just individual colors too, which is kind of fun. And before we leave this, because we're already like at the 20-minute mark, let's go ahead and do something kind of weird. So let's go back to just doing this. So we should see nice, oh. There. So if we want, we should be able to, could do something again with sine waves here, and say, yeah, let's do something like this. And you've kind of got a really great little effect that way. Still got these like vertical bars, but then that's kind of, it's basically like distorting, you know, how they're, the placement of them. That's kind of a fun effect. Let's make that slower. And let's make that slower by putting parentheses in the places they want to go. And we try putting parentheses in the places they want to go again. Okay, there. That was what I was going for. And so we can do these like fun visual effects. And this is the kind of stuff I've done before. And so I'll leave this here, and I will pick up tomorrow with going back to some tricks that I've tried in the past to make sure that they still work with the current version. And because there's actually some pretty fun things we can start to do with textures and like layering things and overlapping them, and like taking sort of like almost like windows into textures and then having them like overlap with each other like through transparency is pretty fun. So yeah, we'll pick that up next time, and until then, take care and see you in tomorrow's creative coding video.